Your life is the same, day after day. Everything that you do the same old way. I can show you a world in a different light. Keep your heart to yourself. Keep your soul to the night. Come to me when you're lonely. Come to me when you need someone new. Come to me when you're restless. I've got something just for you. Just for you. Happy Halloween, everybody. I wanted to start the show off with something different. I wanted to do one more Halloween special. I wanted to make it a little special. This is, it's rare that I do or post my podcast to my YouTube video, but I think it might be something I start doing a little bit more. I don't know if I'm going to do it all the time. Just once in a while. It's kind of nice. I'm going to move the mic in a little bit closer. And let me know what you guys think. As you can see, I have a humble studio. Room to record. And let me move this out of the way here. A little bit more light. Yeah, so wanted to keep things a little dark in here. And I was going to do, I still might do something fun as far as comical, if you will, for the podcast, for the Halloween. Well, this is pretty much the Halloween special. That's what you're getting right here. Surprise video podcast special. For those of you that are not watching it, you're getting the audio, which is my traditional format. And I figured it's pretty lean. I do pretty lean podcasts, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes or below. It's rare that I do 45 minutes or an hour. But, I didn't get a chance to watch that many scary movies. I try to make it a point to watch maybe a few if I can. Some years I just get around to watching one. Some years I don't watch any at all. I had the chance to watch the second Freddy movie, which I thought I had seen. I have seen parts of it. I had seen parts of it until yesterday. Then I saw the whole thing. And that's an interesting one, where Freddy takes over the person and kind of makes him kill people. He possesses them, I guess. There's a funny scene in the movie where this gym teacher gets beat up by a bunch of basketballs, tennis balls, and then he gets whipped in the shower with a towel, and then he gets killed by Freddy. And it's a funny, a little over the top scene. There's also a scene with a parrot, a pet parrot in the house that breaks out and starts attacking the family. I thought that was pretty awesome. That was pretty hilarious. Fun stuff there. And then, oh yeah, while he's attacking it, you hear all the horrific music going on. It bursts into flames, just to be over the top, and collapses in a heap of feathers. It's Freddy. It's A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Part 2. Yeah, I'd watched very little of it previous to that, but not a bad film. Not as good, obviously not as good as the first. I don't think it's talked about that much. And Freddy and A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, I think that's The Dream Child, I think. That one I'd seen a little bit. Yeah, quite a bit. Growing up, I saw probably The Dream Child, and then definitely Dream Warriors. Probably Dream Warriors the most. The first one the least. And then anyone after the Dream Warriors. I think there's Final Nightmare. I still haven't seen Final Nightmare. Rest in peace, Wes Craven. There's a lot of horror directors. I didn't get a chance to give them a proper send-off. Like George Romero. Yeah, there's just... It's sad. It's sad that we're losing some great directors here. But I always like, what I like to watch is, as far as horror, I like comedic horror has always been fun because it takes the edge off. The shock of the horror movie, or the gore. I had a hard time getting into some of the gory aspects of horror movies, but you know what I liked? I think I liked the Jason movies, although I watched just parts of them, just sporadically, because the kills weren't so much scary as they were over the top. The over the topness kind of made it like more of a cartoon, a dark cartoon, but a cartoon nonetheless. And I wasn't as scared about those. Michael Myers was a little bit more, you're supposed to take it a little bit more seriously. But Jason was over the top, and I like that. I still might watch, and I try to make it a tradition to watch The Hand with Michael Caine, and directed by oh, come on. Oliver Stone. That's always a fun one to watch. I always reference The Hand here and there. Gremlins. That's always a fun one because that's a good in-betweener where it's like, it's kind of scary a little bit, but it's going into Christmas. And I like that. I like that aspect of it. Sorry if I'm not looking right at you. I'm looking at my video. I guess I should look. What I should do is put the video closer to the camera so it looks more like I'm looking at you guys. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. I was just talking to a friend, I think it was Daniel, about how horror movies, or not horror movies, but Halloween is kind of lost its edge in a way. And maybe it's because I'm grown up now, or it's always kind of been soft because it's like for the kids, it's a family holiday for the kids, really. But I used to be freaked out by the horror movies growing up when I was younger, and I think that's why I always like the comedy mixed with the horror aspect of it, like Monster Squad. I like that because you felt empowered a bit as a kid to take on monsters like that, and that's a good one. I think some horror movies I kind of give them a break because I've rewatched them too many times, so I let them chill out for maybe a year or two. I'm a big rewatchable movie guy. I just watch my favorite movies over and over. But sometimes you got to cool them off, let them sit so you can forget some things and watch them again. Yeah, Gremlins was awesome. I'm trying to think what else. The Stuff. Which is underrated still. Stephen King's movie Silver Bullet. It's a neat one. I haven't watched that in a while. A good werewolf one. I still haven't seen The Howling. If you can believe that. I can't believe it. It was only just a few years ago that I watched American Werewolf in London. So that's a pretty incredible thing considering I'm a big film guy. So there's definitely some good movies I got to get caught up with. There's just something to be said over doing practical effects over CG. Even if the practical effects aren't great, there's something about having it really happen in physical space for the actors to react to that's really happening in that fictional on set in that world. That being said, tonight, I did the theme there, watching Fright Night, which it's been maybe a couple years since I watched it, so I'm going to rewatch it. It's on Prime right now, and that's a neat one, which I never got a chance to really watch as a kid. Maybe I think I caught some snippets of it, definitely with Roddy McDowall. Roddy McDowall is, he was such a good actor, man. I really loved him in Planet of the Apes and almost any movie he was in. He's fantastic. He's missed. He was something special. I'm trying to think what else. There's another vampire movie that I think I confused for Fright Night, and Fright Night 2 was a movie called Vamp. And some of these movies just kind of mix together and everything when you're growing up because there's so many of them. And that I was growing up in an age of a lot of horror movies, and that wasn't allowed to watch. But getting caught up with them later has been fun. I'm usually not a big horror nut. I can appreciate a good horror movie or two. Usually not a big genre of mine, but here and there I'll give it a chance. Like I like the Blob remake. That was pretty neat. I caught that one growing up, and I thought that was well done and really creepy. So yeah, I mean, there's a few, and I know there's a bunch I'm not even mentioning. Event Horizon, that's another one that, I watched that during college, and that freaked me out. And that was kind of like my first real, maybe not my first, but one of the strong brushes up against H.P. Lovecraft in that area of kind of space horror. That one freaked me right the hell out, and it still does to this day a bit. Even though there's quite a bit of CG, it's still really good, and everyone in it gets good actors all across the board there. I might even do a commentary on Event Horizon. I like that one so much. But yeah, it's lost its edge. Halloween's lost its edge a bit, I think. But I still honor it. I still try to go with it as much as I can. I think that's one of the reasons why I wrote the Halloween Store, because which I recorded on this podcast, and it's kind of like the beta version of it. It's not fully finished yet, for sure, but it's pretty much, it's a rough draft, that I put out. And I enjoyed writing it. I think to me the first draft's always the best draft to write, because you can just let go and have a lot of fun with it. Second draft, you're cleaning it up a bit, still kind of fun. But when you do the third draft, where you really have to make some hard edits, that's when it starts to not be a lot of fun. And especially when you give it to a bunch of people to critique. That one's an ouch. That's an ouch. Then it becomes like real homework. But yeah, Halloween stores, inspired by Tales from the Dark Side. I watched a whole heck of a lot of those shows, and I still try to make it a thing to watch those. But I watched those with a good friend of mine growing up, and we'd make it a habit every Saturday. We'd hang out and watch Tales from the Dark Side before we watched Saturday Night Live, or we watched Saturday Night Live before we watched Tales from the Dark Side. I think that's how it went. And it's just neat. We had sleepovers, and we felt like we were getting away with just staying up late and watching those things, and just making fun of them, and watched a little Friday the 13th series. So it was neat. I appreciate growing up in the 80s as a kid. I really do. I think it was a neat, still creative, inventive time for movies and TV. Things still kind of had edge back then. They could still kind of, keep things kind of not so over the top PC and not so safe, which was good for an artist, I think. And of course, Ghostbusters. I've seen Ghostbusters so many times now. I pretty much can recite almost all the lines. But once in a while, not every year, but once in a while, I'll throw it in. I'll watch Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2. And just so you know, they have a deleted scene on YouTube for Ghostbusters 2, which is pretty fun. And it's always cool seeing new old footage of Bill Murray as Peter Venkman, which is cool. So yeah, again, the horror comedy genre I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot, and I'm a big fan of Joe Dante, and Gremlins 2 and all that. And I think Dante had something to do with The Howling, one of those, which I can't believe I haven't watched that yet. But yeah, it's something about Halloween when you're growing up and your people haven't separated. Your friends haven't separated yet. There's a long way before that happens. I find that when you get out of school or high school or college, people start to get busy. They start to get families going, and the parties just dry up. They just dry up more and more. So the reason to dress up and all that, and to find a fun costume, just starts to go out of the window. And it just becomes about staying home, and if you want to add to the novelty of it, get some candy or whatever, watch some horror movies at home, or you record a podcast like this, special Halloween podcast. So this is pretty dang special, doing a video podcast. It's good. It's good for me to get used to the camera again. Not that I wasn't, making little movies, and I'm still working on a little special short film soon, which I'm editing right now. But I think this right here, talking to the mic and on video, it's a little bit different than, I think, just talking to the mic. I think they're the same, but yet they're separate a little bit. So it's good for me to practice this and get used to podcasting on camera, because I plan to do some stand-up comedy on here, just to get back into the swing of things again and start doing my stand-up, which I have posted in the past. So much to a lot of criticism, and I guess to stay on topic, I just feel like it it feels safe. Halloween feels safe, and I don't know. I don't know what we can do about that. You know, it's hard to be scared as adults. It's hard to get together with people and talk. I mean, you can. I mean, I could call up a friend right now. We could talk, but it's just not the same as oh, there's some kind of function or there's some kind of party where I can go and dress up and there'll be a decent amount of people. You know, I've been to a few parties where it wasn't a lot of people, but we got it out of our system. We celebrated the holiday, and it's a memory. I've done a lot of fun costumes throughout the years. When I was younger, I was big into dressing up as Batman, and I got the Michael Keaton rubber mask from the '89 movie from my stepdad, and I still have it to this day, and I'll never forget that. It was one of the best costumes, and I kept adding to it every year or every other year. I'd get the black Batman muscle suit, like a leather cape or a leather knockoff cape, and gloves, and I make the gauntlet, the bat fin gauntlets and all that. I just keep adding to it, and the army boots helped, and that's why I can't throw that costume. And a lot of my costumes I can't throw out because I never know when I might need a costume. And one of the fun ones that I liked recently, that within the past 5 years, is my Roy Munson costume, which I was able to pull off with my burgundy jacket. Roy Munson being from the movie Kingpin. The Hawaiian hat, straw hat, and the rubber arm, which I had like a rubber hand with a ring on it, plastic ring, which is supposed to be his bowling ring, and I pulled it off. Bald head. Well, I'm almost there, but with skull cap and all that. But yeah, man, that's I can get into it. I can have some fun. It just you kind of need friends. You kind of need friends to mess around with. But sometimes you just kind of have a stay-at-home Halloween. And I think that's what this is shaping up to be. Yeah. So I also made it a point to make this sober October. So I'm not even going out to any bars and drinking or anything like that. Which I was tempted to. But I'm not going to do that. Because I'm sticking to a disciplined month along with Joe Rogan. So yeah. And it's interesting. I think it's good. I've felt some temptations to drink just to like take the edge off a little bit, but it hasn't been bad. But it's been there. You notice it. And I haven't been working out every day, but most days I put 4 to 5 days a week at least. No less than 4 days a week I've been working out, whether at the gym with my altitude mask or at home with the kettlebells. And but yeah, it's, you feel guilty if you don't go along with the holiday, and but people go all out. I'm not going to say it's not fun, but I think one should be careful about attaching too much expectations to a holiday, thinking that it'll change anything in your life. Because I've never had a holiday or something that's been that amazing, that game-changing, fall on that specific holiday. And if it would be any of them, you would think it would be Christmas. And maybe I've had one or two. Not that they haven't been special with my family, but if anything, more times it's caused me to think about things I didn't want to think about and attach unrealistic expectations to the holiday. and to Christmas. And I've learned to become more detached from the holiday. Just experience it as it is, and it's just something that you celebrate and you get through it, and you try not to project, again, things that are going to happen. I'm really bad with this with New Year's Eve. I think it has a lot to do with the movies I have watched about New Year's Eve, where everything's supposed to be turned around. You're supposed to meet that special someone. But yeah, let me take a look at this, make sure I got my... Yeah, okay. Speakers still on my mic. Hopefully this will sound good. So I'm going to watch the rest of Fright Night tonight. I'm still editing Dark Carpentry, the comedy vampire movie about a construction crew working on the house of a master vampire. And it's just, again, the editing process is so lengthy. And the chapter I've been working on the one chapter, editing it for months based on the notes given to me. And I'm even debating about whether to keep it in the story. Now I have to keep it on the story because I worked on it for so long, this particular chapter. But once it's done, I'm going to be happy. I have to stay focused. And this next month in November, I have to really focus in and maybe just make 3 goals for the month of November and put more time into the editing of that story so I can finish it and get it published. Along with finishing my short film to get out to this channel. And it's a YouTube special. It'll be released on YouTube. I'm looking at November, maybe mid to late November, releasing this short film I'm doing, which is the first time in a long time that I've finished a film, besides the push-up video I did, the 22 push-ups. And I plan to make... Well, it would be ideal to make a movie a month, a short film a month. That would be great. But I don't know how realistic that is. It all depends how much I want to make it a priority and focus on it. But yeah, I'm looking at doing that. I'm also looking at going back to Biology 101 and redoing. I think that there's been some problems on it where they've taken the music out. And even though the music was free to use, apparently there's some kind of copyright thing on it. So I gotta replace some of the music somehow, take it out, use YouTube's music, and go from there. So yeah, so there's more than enough projects to keep me busy. I guess I'm gonna wrap it up. I would have liked to, maybe next time I'll do a live. Maybe I'll do a live call-in show and the video, just to experiment. But until then, I'm gonna leave you guys with a happy Halloween. May you have all long days and pleasant nights. Watch a scary movie or one of your favorite movies in the genre, or a new one that you want to take a chance on. I still haven't seen Midsommar, which seems a lot like The Wicker Man. That's a good one. The Wicker Man. Whew. So, yeah. Sorry, I got no Jean-Claude. I got no Arnold in the studio tonight. However, that might change. So, let's see if I can finish this off. Let's see here. My phone's acting slow. Got a little bit too much. Let's see. There we go. I'll just do the ending of this one. Hopefully it's not too loud. It probably will be too loud, but... Come to me when you're lonely. when you're restless. 'Cause I've got something just for you. Just for you. Happy Halloween.